In this video, we're going to build a pedal board inspired by the legendary tones of Jimi Hendrix. Coming up. Hey, I'm RJ, welcome back. If you're new here, thanks for joining me. So most of you know that I'm a huge Hendrix fan, and something that I've wanted to do for a long time is build a Hendrix-inspired pedal board. Unfortunately, like many of you, I don't own any of the original vintage pedals like Fuzz Faces, Univibes, Crybabies. But I do have a few clones and some pedals that are inspired by the originals, but also have some cool modern features. So before anyone says, oh, this is not a Hendrix pedal board, Hendrix never used all this stuff, let me reiterate that it is a Hendrix-inspired pedal board. And just a disclaimer, this is not a sponsored video. All of these pedals that you're gonna see, I bought or I've worked for. And really, these are pedals that I personally dig, that I think work together really well. And I would totally use this on the road or in the studio. Before we get started, if you're into videos like this, guitar lessons, gear demos, all that stuff, make sure you click subscribe and click the bell to receive notifications. So let's get going. All right, first things first, we need a wah-wah pedal. Hendrix primarily used Vox wah-wah pedals. He typically used the stock ones, the ones that were branded Clyde McCoy. Hendrix also used some wahs that were modded by Roger Mayer, who, as you may know, also built the Octavia for him and some other effects. There's tons of wah-wah pedals to choose from. You got Dunlop, Vox, there's RMC, Full Tone, but I'm actually gonna try out this new pedal that I just got. It's called the Mick-Wah by Meccano-Wah. It's based on the original Clyde design with a little bit of a different kind of sweep in the middle. It's a little more vocal. They're handmade in Baltimore, Maryland. They're extremely well built and very sturdy. So I'm gonna try this one. Next in the chain is gonna be the Fuzz. Now this was kind of hard to decide because I've got a ton of Fuzz Face clones and Fuzz pedals. A pedal that I got earlier this year that I really dug was the Solid Gold Effects Spanish Castle. This is a very unique Fuzz Face inspired pedal. As you can see, there's two separate fuzzes, Fuzz A, Fuzz B. And the difference is they mimic kind of different eras of the Fuzz Face circuit. Fuzz A on the right side is the pre-1969 Fuzz Face type circuit. Now that's gonna be a warmer germanium style circuit, while the left side is the post-1969, which is a little bit buzzier silicon type of fuzz. But the feature that I really like is this input toggle. If you've ever used a wah with a fuzz, sometimes you'll notice that when you're in the heel back position, you'll get this really high-pitched squealing. What this input toggle effectively does is it tweaks the frequencies a bit and basically dials out that high-pitched frequency. And also, a lot of times when you put the wah in front of a fuzz face, you don't get that wah effect. It kind of cancels it out. But with this one, you can put this after the wah and you'll still get that wah-wah effect. Next in the signal chain is the octave pedal, or the Octavia pedal. Now this is one of my favorite sounds ever, and you would think that I would own an original Octavia, but I don't. And in fact, I never got an Octavia pedal until my 20s after hearing Joe Satriani use one on the first live G3 album. And he was using a Full Tone Ultimate Octave, which is what I ended up buying, and that's what I've been using for so many years. But not today, because I got a brand new pedal. A friend actually let me try out this pedal, and I was so blown away by it that I went home, got on Reverb, and I bought it that day. And that is the Joe Gore Screech Octave Fuzz. Now this is gonna be a little bit of a stretch from the original Octavia, mainly because it's based on the old 60s octave up fuzzes like the Dan Armstrong Green Ringer and the Ampeg Scrambler. But the beauty of this particular pedal, and the reason why I like it so much, is because, you know, on typical Octavia pedals, there's always like a sweet spot kind of above the 10th fret, and you usually have to use the neck pickup of a Strat or something. But with this pedal, you don't have to worry about that. It works great with any pickup position, anywhere on the neck. You still hear that octave effect. I'll let you hear this one in a minute, but this is great. And of course, a Hendrix pedal board wouldn't be complete without a Univibe. The original Univibes were designed by Japanese engineer Fumio Maeda. for the Shin A Corporation. It was supposed to mimic a Leslie cabinet type of effect, but it failed to do so. Instead, it became its own legendary effect in a category of its own. Now, the original units were fairly big setups with a foot controller and an already large box. But for me, my go-to Univibe sound has been this full-tone Deja Vibe. It's a perfect size for a pedalboard build like this, and what I'm told, it's pretty close to the original. Now, since the goal of this pedalboard is to be used with a clean pedal platform amp, we're gonna have to emulate Jimi's amps somehow. Now, it's common knowledge that Hendrix used all kinds of amps in the studio and live. He used the Marshalls, Sound City, Fenders, Sun, and it seems he's most commonly associated with Marshalls. Most notably, the Super 100 JTM 45. And he would always turn them all the way up and then use his guitar volume knob to clean it up. So to achieve a similar sound, I chose the J-Rocket 45 caliber. It's meant to emulate a Marshall JTM 45, and to me it sounds really great with a Strat. The way I set it, you'll see in a moment, I can roll down my volume knob and it'll clean up really nicely. So I wanted to take it a step further, actually 2 steps further, and I wanted to try to recreate the sound that he got in the studio with all the post effects. So I'm adding 2 pedals to this build. If you listen to some of the studio recordings, particularly when he's got a clean tone, Eddie Kramer slapped a little bit of plate reverb when he was mixing, just to give it a little bit of ambience. So for a little touch of reverb, I'm gonna use the Electronics Oceans 11. It's got a really great plate reverb sound and you can tweak it, so it sounds pretty close to the recording. And the last effect that I'm gonna use on the pedal board is another mix down effect that Eddie Kramer used, and that's the use of a tape delay. If you listen to like Red House or Electric Ladyland has a lot of it, there's some slapback effect and some tape delay effects going on. And so for that, I'm gonna use the MXR echoplex. And that's it. I think these pedals are gonna work great together, but there's only one way to find out. All right, so for this, I'm using an old pedal train board that I had lying around. For pedal power, I'm gonna be using the T-Rex Fuel Tank Jr. If you ever saw my travel vlog when I went to Copenhagen and my pedal power conked out and I had to buy a new one, this is the one I bought. There's 5 power outputs. I've got more pedals than that, and actually I noticed that the echoplex wasn't working too great with this, so it's gonna be on its own separate power supply. And then also the wah pedal, I'm not going to go through the power supply, I'm just gonna run it on a battery, and it's gonna also hang out off the board because A, there's no room, and B, I actually prefer wah pedals and volume pedals on the ground as opposed to a pedal board because it kind of just lifts it up a little bit more than I'd like and also angles it. I know it's kind of nitpicking, but that's what it is. Also, I'm gonna be using some of these flat patch connectors from Rockboard. These connections are extremely flat and slim, so I can squeeze them together if I need to. Okay guys, and maybe that one girl that subscribes to this channel, nah. You're all guys, I know. So I'm using for this my trusty Sen Fullerton. It's got Lawler blackface in the neck and specials in the bridge and the middle. Unfortunately, I don't have the Jimi Hendrix gauges on this, the 10 to 38. I just have regular old 10s on this, but hopefully you'll get the idea. Trusty old Sir PT100, here's my clean sound. And it's not perfectly in tune, just like Jimi. So let's turn on his Marshall by switching on the J-Rocket 45 caliber. And I can clean it up by just rolling off of the volume. Let's turn on the plate reverb and play some clean stuff. This is the Mick Wah. Oh, just a little note on the Voodoo Child lick. I was guilty of playing it like this. But it never sounded exactly like the record, so I listened closely, and it's a lot of ghosted notes, so I think he's actually doing something like this. Instead of... it's more like... I don't know, I'm not sure. I gotta listen to it again, but you tell me in the comments what you guys think of that. Alright, I think you guys are dying to hear the fuzz. So I'm gonna keep the 45 caliber on just so it still emulates the Marshall sound. So that's the right side, that's the pre-1969 fuzz face. And I'll play the left side now. A little bit rumblier on the low end. So I don't know, I got two to choose from, which is great. I'm kind of favoring the left side, to be honest. Let me show you what I was talking about with the wah-wah pedal and the feedback thing. So I'm going to switch on the wah. It's pretty bad. So I'm going to leave it there and see if I can dial it up. It's very slight, but it's also probably due to the gain that I have on the 45 caliber plus the fuzz. But I mean, it's still usable. And you can still hear the wah effect when it's before this fuzz, which is kind of hard to get with a traditional fuzz face. Let's hear the Joe Gore Screech octave fuzz. So that's usually where the sweet spot is, you know? But I'm gonna play in different parts, switching up the pickups so you can hear that the octave effect still is there. Turn down the volume knob just a little bit. All right, let's put on the Deja vibe. Reverb. Give me a little bit of reverb. me show you what I was talking about with the echoplex. Wasn't a really Hendrixy lick, is it? And really, I just love having a slapback delay, so... So that's it. I'm pretty happy with this pedal board. Gosh, now I just gotta find a gig that I can use this in. I might have to put the Hendrix tribute band back together. Yeah. Third Stone, 2019, coming to a city near you. Maybe. Well, there you have it, guys. You saw the pedals, you heard them. If you like this video, click that thumbs up, share it with your friends, family, co-workers, Salvation Army bell ringing person. If you'd like to see more videos like this, gear demos, guitar lessons, tour vlogs, make sure you click subscribe. Thanks again for watching, guys. I hope you guys have a happy new year, and I'll see you guys next time.